to do a simple rundown of basic maintenance for PI since I have the opportunity with Fatal. So I've got some planets in toll, depending on what you need. And I got some planets, obviously, in Ida, and most of the others in start off toll. So I could restart the extraction remotely if I wanted to, but it's been a hot minute, and I want to explain it thoroughly with the scan process and checking sure your extractor's in the right spot as far as basic material extraction goes. So this one. Warpin. So this one is non-CS. So it's selected. So you see these little colors. Go to scan. We're on non-CS. So you can move this essentially. So like if it's not really your vision, you want white or red. So I'm essentially kind of in the same spot, but you also get readouts here. So I'm going to move these. So that's 46. This one is 43. Now it's 47. This one is 41. Now it's 45. And so I'm getting about 211,000 units every 4 days is usually what the cycles that I do. I'm pretty much loaded, maxed out on the extractor planet. So that's what you also have to pay attention to when you're popping these out. You want to kind of have depending on what you need for your recipes, you want to kind of see what you need. That depends on, that'll kind of determine how many extractors you need to throw out. So that's decent for the non-CS. So I got 2 planets of this. This is basically the same setup on 2 planets, so I'm not really worried about having. That's a decent 4-day cycle. So we'll start that one. This one is base material, base metals. Base metals, as you can see, not really an issue, but that's also where if you got a whole lot of white, let's keep narrowing it down. So that's the epicenter of where it's going to be the strongest. So, like I said, 70, almost 78. You get it higher. You kind of find the middleman. 78. All around 70s. Decent. Started. Got to turn heavies. Adjust the scanner a little bit. There. This. Move that. That. So if you overlap them, you see how that negative percentage, you want them to not overlap at all, but as close as you can so you maximize the yield of each one. Start that one. Always remember to hit submit. So as I was saying about that expedited transfer on the other video, so go to storage, hit expedited from the warehouse to the port. Transfer, so there's the cooldown I was talking about. If you're only doing this once every 4 days, it's really not a big issue with that cooldown because it'll just keep stacking, essentially. So, expedite. Expedite. So now they're in the spaceport. We're done on this planet. Everything's fractions running. See how it doesn't have the red bar? And this is what I have in my storage. So we'll access the customs office. All these materials are now in the launch pad. Transfer them to this side. It's going to cost me 600,000. Terrible. Take that. Throw it into your structure. And then move on to the next one. So same thing with this planet. Not sure what these extractors are doing. What the hell? I see. I see what we were doing here. That's why I spread them out. Decent numbers. Start it. Non-CS. All right, so this is where we run into our issue of, okay, what happened to our hotspots? So this isn't that bad of a hotspot, so we'll move these ones. That's 35. fine tune these. So you do have a max range though. So we'll go for max 7. Good numbers. Start it. Last one. Just your scan. All of those look good. Some overlaps, some. All right, here we go. Submit. And then do the same thing. Expedite. So I'm not going to stack these yet, just because. All right, so now on to IDO. Go to my storm planet. So same general principle, obviously extractors. So adjust your scan levels, decent numbers, start it. Adjust the much better numbers. And then you get, obviously it's a gas planet, storm planet. You get resources like this, where like the entire planet's just, I mean, even at the lowest strength. So you bump it up, you bump it up, you bump it up until not a bad cycle. So 350, move these, and now we're looking at 382. Not bad at all. Those are good. Submit. Do the same thing with your resources here. Expedite. I'm going to go to the advanced factory first. Set this bad boy. So on one of your barren planets, depending on what you're going for, obviously, you're going to want noble metal. So these all need to be adjusted. We'll warp to the advanced factory. Pick up those noble metals first before we go to the basic factory. Alright, so like I was saying, gotta split some stuff up. So 2 heavies. So I got 2 decently even stacks of heavy. So I'm just gonna leave those alone. Base metals, I can stack. So this is where it gets tricky sometimes. With my setup, I'll need to fine tune it, but pop this open real quick. Got divided by 3 because I got 3 different need stack that. Go to our basic factory. It can be a little tedious, but once you get a routine down and you have all these cheat sheets and stuff, I'm going a little bit slower than I usually go, just so I'm not going too fast when I'm explaining this stuff. So here we are, XX Customs Office. So we go to our first one. It won't always be in the same order that your notes are. So I might have done it out of order. I'm not sure. I might organize it differently in this drop-down menu is what I'm saying. So water, don't need it on this planet. We'll take that with us. And so we need ionic and yes, liquids. Transfer. So those are now in the spaceport. Take the water. DJ's next. Precious and toxic are tier 1. We need stack of heavy and the noble. Transfer dry products here. Transfer. Heavy and non-CS. Seems that one of my launch pads changed their name. Excuse me? Check my notes. No, I'm an idiot. It is 6K. Weird. Alright. Other bigger stack of noble metals, and then all your base transfer. Take tier 1. Hit transfer. Boom, boom. Last one. And that is just basically simple boom, boom, noble gas to make oxygen to the ship. So we're done here. And so now the factories are no longer red. This is what I have in my storage, the raw materials. If I look, everything's being transferred from their corresponding ports to the factories, and the factories are making the product. And then once the products are done, they'll go back to the port. Now to the advanced factory. So precious metals, And the way I set it up, it actually works out pretty well from the different hubs because I mean, I basically need a third and 2/3, which is pretty decent right there already for the precious metal. Everything else can go ahead and get stacked. I do believe I'll leave it like so. Access OC needs third of precious. So you'll see it actually activate here. So transfer. Water. So oxygen is a tier 1 directly to tier 2. Or should I say, yeah, tier 1 to tier 2. It doesn't really go into anything that I have as far as, should I say, on this planet. It does go into tier 2. It just doesn't go into anything I have on this planet. Sorry, I corrected myself on that. Reactive and your Bango. So it's giving me some errors. I'm going to go check that. Plus, I want to turn this because I don't want it snagging any of the mechanical parts by accident. So let me see what's the issue. Yes, my routes got deleted. Neglect. Toxic spiral. So I get to show you that. So products are here, create out route here. Crush it. Water and electro. So I gotta split these up just fine. Still does the same purpose, it only transfers 40 units at a time. So we have a fuck ton of reactives, so this isn't going to be a very big batch of mechanical parts. I can at least get the routes created. Hopefully they stick. They should. I'm thinking it was because I left them alone for too long, but all right. So that is it. I mean, so those other factories easily, depending on the CPU and power grid that you're using, can be utilized for like a lot more factories, ports, stuff like that. If you want to, since we're basically at a stage of just busy materials and shooting them from tier 1 to tier 2, if you're not doing the raw material extraction planet. But that is it. Hope it was helpful. Enjoy. Feel free to shoot me any questions.